Welcome to an indie film podcast film festival review. I'm Victoria.
And I'm Chuck. Today we're going to be talking about the first annual Spark of Madness Film Festival, which we attended in Pocatello, Idaho at the end of May.
The Spark of Madness Film Festival is based on three themes: madness, inspiration, and the Rocky Mountains. Films from around the world that touch any of these three themes are shown to live audiences, including the unconventional, weird, absurd, and freaky. They celebrate films that celebrate creativity, and really, they're looking for films with a little spark of madness.
Absolutely. The films were great. Do you want to just start with the categories and how we rated the film festival, Victoria?
Yeah, let's do that. So our combined and therefore averaged scores for communication from the festival was a 10.
Yes. Audience attendance, we rated at an 8.
The films themselves were a 9.5.
For networking and events, we rated that at a 9.5 out of 10.
The theater and tech, we rated a 9 out of 10.
Awards, we rated a 10 out of 10.
The town area is a 7.5 out of 10.
And the overall value rated that as a 9.
Which, to be fair, was very, very impressive for a film festival when you hear Pocatello, Idaho, because most of you listening right now have probably not heard of Pocatello, Idaho.
Yeah, and this first year fest was extremely well organized. It was well attended.
Yeah.
And the festival runners did an excellent job of bringing in people from outside areas.
I was floored by the volume of attendance, not just because of it being a little bit away from an airport.
Yeah.
But just because it was a first-year festival, and we've been to a couple other first-year festivals as of late. And while the attendance at all of those was not bad by any stretch, this was really impressive. This was attendance for even on some of the earlier weekdays of the festival, not just the weekend, but the weekdays.
Yeah.
Was larger than what I've seen at other film festivals that have been running for 8-9 years.
Yeah. And this is in a place that's tricky to get to.
It is, but
worth it.
Really pretty.
Yeah.
Surprisingly pretty. And also that means kind of cost effective for wanting to stay there and eat all the meals and everything there. Mm-hmm. Pocatello is very affordable to visit. It is a little bit of a drive from either the Salt Lake Airport or the Boise Airport, so you may need a rental car, depending on your situation.
Yeah.
But if you can get to it, wow, go to this festival.
I'm excited to see what the future brings with Spark of Madness. So to talk about the films a little bit, they were different. And to me, that was incredibly refreshing. Because I love a weird film.
Yeah.
And there were so many engaging films that got screened there that don't have, the usual middle of the road, polished, but doesn't have a lot of teeth.
It looks like a film, it sounds like a film, but I don't really feel anything after watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not the films at this festival.
Because a lot of times those films do get swallowed up by regional film festivals and local film festivals. But Spark of Madness, I think, it already did show a lot of potential in the first year, which I would rate it. I would have been, if I didn't know it was the first year, I would have been surprised to find that out.
That blew my mind.
Yeah. And so with this being, kind of close to the Salt Lake area, which the Sundance is going to be leaving Park City.
Yeah.
Slam Dance is going to be leaving Park City.
And
Utah.
All going south.
Yeah, so if people are migrating in that area, I feel like Pocatello might be a new home for people to attend film festivals. This could
be a really good option for people because Salt Lake and Utah as a whole does have a very strong, growing film community for any of you who are outside the area and don't know.
Hallmark.
Yeah, the Hallmark is really big for filming that. And come on, the beautiful mountains, like they've got those cool salt plains and everything there. Like Utah is pretty.
Yeah.
Utah's
for
pretty.
sure. And it's a hop, skip, and a jump to where they do the filming for Yellowstone, I believe, and all those ancillary series that take place there. So it's a burgeoning film scene in Utah, and then there's rumors going around about St. George, Utah, potentially getting a
very large studio.
Yeah, so it's all developing in that area, and I think it's really cool that this highly organized group of festival runners decided to start a film festival in Pocatello.
And so organized.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything was on schedule.
Yes.
Which, if you've ever been to a film festival, that alone is a feat.
Mm-hmm.
Everything ran incredibly smoothly. The Q&As were hosted by, I want to say, a radio media professional for at least some of the Q&As were. And they were questions I actually cared about the answers to. They genuinely went through and thought about all of the things they were going to be discussing with these filmmakers and had things at the ready that felt endearing and comforting and also insightful to hear from other filmmakers.
Not just, what did you shoot that on?
Yeah. Or like, what was the inspiration for this? Like,
it wasn't just the blanket questions.
Yeah. Give me films with teeth and then give me questions about it with teeth. That's what I want to hear. And it was honestly quite impressive. A lot of the after parties and mixers were really well handled.
Yeah.
One of them was even at a community theater where the staff of the theater was working to volunteer to run the bar that night so that they could all be there. This was obviously a big community effort to get all of this to happen. And everyone was so friendly and so kind. And I do want to mention that I do feel a little bit bribed because there were gift baskets and they were cool.
Yeah. They were great gift baskets.
So, to be fair, that was also a fun perk. But
it was an endearing trip for me because small town atmosphere.
Yeah.
I just kind of dig. And then when we did go out to eat, you know, it's a smaller town, so it's like they have one option of every type of food that you want and then several options for American food.
Yeah.
Which is we actually did really well as far as going out to eat.
Yeah.
It was very affordable. The quality of the food was really good.
The quality of some of the food actually really impressed me. I was kind of blown away by some of the, you know, not just burgers and fries joints.
Yeah.
It felt like cuisine, not just cafeteria food or something like that. You know? It was really good.
It was delicious. And then the theater itself was inside of the local university.
Yes.
And it's a theater.
It's a real theater, and it's really comfortable seats, which was really nice too.
Probably the most comfortable seats I've sat in a long time in a theater, except for, you know, the new ones with like the recliners and stuff. But
yeah,
I try not to sit or give my money too much to those big cinemas that have.
If I recline in a cinema, I'm gonna sleep.
Fall asleep through the movie.
Yeah, I don't need that. So, and not to say that you could necessarily sleep through a lot of these films. A lot more.
They were weird enough, wild enough, and super entertaining. So definitely, if you are a filmmaker and you want to get into a film festival with a huge amount of potential early on, submit, because this film festival, I believe, is going to go places.
I see really, really good things happening for this festival in the future. Like this is a good one, and Spark of Madness needs to be on your list.
I feel fortunate that we did submit the very first year and they were kind enough to screen our film.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes in the future because I feel like we're on the ground floor. And if you can get in on a film festival that's first year, second year, third year that it ends up exploding, you know, you'll be there along for the ride. So
and you'll get to watch it all happen.
So if you are listening to this for the first time, Victoria and I do reviews of film festivals, sometimes movies, but also listen to our weekly podcast where we talk about our adventures and foils and fables and foibles and all the F's.
Just throw, I don't know,
follies. Filmmaking. Follies, there we go.
There was another one.
I was looking for that one too. I appreciate the assist. So we talk about the mistakes that we make while we're filmmaking. And we do that every week. So is there anything else you'd like to add, or shall we succinctly say farewell?
I think we can say farewell.
Bye.
Bye.